guys, how y'all doing today? My name is Franchise Fanatic and welcome back to the channel. And today, if you guys, is another Ninjago, discussion / review. This is going to contain spoilers for Ninjago Season 15 Crystalized. So if you have not seen up to at least episode 12, that's what I'm covering in this video, 1 to 12, the new season. You know, go watch it. I believe it's on Netflix now. 1 to 12 is at least on Netflix. 13 through 30. I have watched a few. I'm at I think 13 to 20 I've seen. But I'm not gonna review that yet. But I think it's gonna be on Netflix. I just go on Google Drives because I can't effing wait because they're too freaking slow to put it on. So I said screw it. I gave in. I normally don't like to do that, but at this point I don't want to get spoiled. So I'm like, screw it. You know, a-holes online are just posting the ending and posting spoilers. You know, look at this happens. So I'm like, well, I better watch it before I kick myself in the shins. So, regarding season 15 Crystalized, I know it's season 15, okay? Episode 1 and 12, right? This is, I don't want to say it's a weaker season, but you know, I'm basically covering 1 to 12 as part 1 and 13 through 30 as part 2, essentially. Just to make it easier for this video. So part 1, which again 1 to 12, it's basically not as insanely epic in scope as, say, you know, the 13 through 30 aspect. Obviously, because they got to start it. But, you know, obviously in the beginning, Nia is quote-unquote dead, right? She's kind of merged with the sea. She is one with the ocean. And this aspect of this is just, it's fantastic. I mean, it really is. You know, Ninjago, like I said, it's by far my favorite franchise of all time. And it's just, everything about it is just effing great. So, I really just can't say enough good about it. But Nia essentially becoming one with the sea really screws with not only Jay, but the ninja and myself. Like, I cried like a little bitch watching that, alright? I was like, you know what I mean? Like, Ninjago, I swear to God, Ninjago's the only franchise I can watch. You know, I'll tear up at Star Wars, whatever, but Tony Stark's death, nothing. Zane dies, baby mode. You know what I mean? Activate. I just start crying. And that's testament to the animation, the acting, and the writing. It's just, it's top tier animation material. It really is. You know, it's not some stupid kiddie show. It's beautifully well made for all audiences, and I'm 23 and it gets to me because, you know, it's just that good in terms of the writings. It's perfect. So maybe not every season, but at least, you know, these newer seasons have been pretty stellar. But, you know, Nia essentially having to come back from that water shape, at first I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna like that, you know what I mean? Because, like, remember when Cole turned into a ghost in season 5? All of season 5, or the rest of season 5, and all of season 6, Skybound, Cole was a friggin' ghost, and that was good. You know, they didn't go, next episode he's human again. You know, they stuck with the fact that Cole's a ghost, and they actually, you know, committed to that idea. And then, of course, you know, you have stuff like Cole's fall, which, you know, there's I'm not going to explore all the canon reasons and, explaining why this happens and why that. But, you know, Lloyd dies, for example, in season 10, but he chooses to come back. Harumi dies, you know what I mean, in season 9. Definitively, she gets effing crushed by a building. She literally dies. You see her body in Crystalized. Of course, you know, 13, but, you know, she comes back, as we see in, you know, episode 12, the Council of the Crystal King. So, you know, people die in the show and they stay dead, and some people die and they come back, and some people are near death. But Nia didn't really die. She kind of merged with the sea. You know, she became one with her element. So, bringing her back, you know, I was like, I don't know how they're going to do that. You know, how are you going to make me feel the impact of that loss and of that sacrifice? And they literally just went, alright, F it. It's going to be 1 year, alright, between the end of season 14, beginning of 15, Crystalized, it's going to be 1 year. And basically, the Wu's trying to get her back, and they're all kind of mourning her, and, you know, Lloyd is just kind of, you know, not even wanting to be a ninja. He's washing windows. He's at his lowest point. He's like, I don't want to be responsible for anyone else. Screw it, I'm going to wash windows. You know what I mean? They're like, okay, we got to get Nia back. And then it turns out Asphira can, you know, take your powers. And so they do a good explanation of why she comes back. It's not like, oh, I don't know, for the toys, or, oh, I don't know, because we freaking forgot something, or we don't know how to write this stuff. You know, like, they literally gave it a good reason. They gave it a year so that it doesn't feel like the next day they did it. You know what I mean? That's good. And then they also had a really cool and awesome way. In bringing Nia back to a human form, she now does not have her elemental power of water. She's just Nia, which was one of her biggest fears in the earlier seasons, and not feeling, just feeling kind of abandoned. And I think that, you know, Nia as a character is fantastic. I think, you know, a lot of these newer woke movies and shows, like She-Hulk, for example, or Miss Marvel, they treat women as perfect beings. Of like, oh, if you're a woman, you're perfect. White man, you're evil. You know what I mean? That's how they do it now. And new woke franchises, which again, I love Marvel, but She-Hulk does this, Miss Marvel does it, other things do it. they try to build up the female character being so perfect that they make the men look stupid and incompetent. Where, again, man or woman, doesn't matter. We all matter, you know what I mean? Just because you're a girl or a dude doesn't mean jack crap, you know what I mean? We're all people. So, obviously a person with a freaking working and functioning brain knows this. But Nia is a perfect example, or a near perfect example, I guess like Rey Skywalker too, of a female character who is not perfect, is flawed, but is still a good character. Nia doesn't make Jay or anyone else feel inferior or stupid. You know, they're just well-rounded and well-written characters. There's no agenda to Nia. It's just she is who she is. She's good at things, she's bad at things, and so are the men, so are the women. That's so great. And to see that she's kind of struggling with her ability to, you know, belong without having water powers, it's kind of cool. And she eventually, you know, discovers Samurai X again and all that. So she kind of just gives the middle finger to Pixel. It's like, haha, I'm Samurai X, the biatch. You know, that's how that worked, I guess. But it is still cool to see how she comes back. And, of course, you know, in bringing her back, the ninja become fugitives. Now, the ninja were fugitives before, right, in Season 6 or whatever. But it was handled well in that. But I think it's handled better in this, in a sense that the ninja were technically framed in Skybound. This, like, even Wu tells them, don't do this, you know. Asphera is extremely dangerous. Do not go through with this plan. That's what he does. And the ninja are like, so they literally go back, and they just break her out of freaking jail, and they're like, hey, Asphera, free Nia, you'll be free. And 2 seconds flat, she, you know, betrays him. And then the ninja, you know, with the police, Mayor Trustable, Hound Dog McBride, you know, they're all trying to get him over, and, you know, the ninja do get arrested, and there's kind of like a little arc in that where, you know, this is kind of the worst part of the season. It's not bad, but, it, you know, there's a few episodes devoted to them being in jail, and then escaping jail, and then they meet this girl who wants to start a band, and they're good episodes, and the girl with the band video, it's a well-made episode with a good arc for Zane, but at the same time, you know, now that I'm on episode 20 out of the 30, and we're in, you know, I'm in the Crystalized arc, obviously this is better. But going through with, you know, this jail thing, it is still pretty effing cool that they're even doing it. You know, I mean, it's not like the next episode they're like, oh, no, you know, the mayor likes him now. It's like, no, the mayor, like, even in the new episode, like, I'm on 20. I'm going to watch it tomorrow. I think it's called Christopher or something like that. Don't spoil it if you've seen it. But basically, you know, they treat this as an ongoing thing. It's not resolved in the second. Dareth is back. He's cool. You know, Wu's cool. Misako, I haven't really seen a lot of her yet, but, you know, it's pretty cool, I guess. You know, the Overlord, of course, is, you know, almost, I mean, we don't know this now, but, you know, the Overlord is Crystal King. They freaking revealed that in the trailer, stupid trailer, guys. But I do think that that's a good thing, you know. I mean, at first I was like, you know, but basically, if you think about it, this season is like the end game of Ninjago. This is the end of the pilot through 15, but Ninjago is not ending. We're getting more content in 2023. You know, think of, again, this is Avengers Endgame for Ninjago, and then Spider-Man Far From Home, which is, again, still canon, but it came after Endgame. So whatever we're getting next year is not Season 16, but it's still in the same world, so to speak. So I think that's cool, but there is a really crazy sense of finality to it, which is going to probably make me weep again, but, you know, it is what it is. But I do think that this season is strong so far, part 1. I think it really is. But there's a lot of things where I'm like, you know, the jail thing, I'm like, I don't know, it's not as strong. Although it is, you know, no episode is bad. Again, now that I'm at least in the Crystalized aspect where Harumi and, you know, all this stuff's going on, it's pretty, holy crap, you know, I mean, it's pretty crazy. But this first episode, 1 to 12, is pretty insane. And just seeing the Council of the Crystal King, just seeing who that masked, kabuki masked, like, Wu straw hat thing is, Harumi, pretty freaking nuts. Because, again, she died in Season 9, so for her to come back, I'll explain it in my 13 through 30 review once I finish the show. But it is still pretty crazy to see that, you know, we're at this point where Harumi, I think a lot of people hate her. I don't really know why. She is a biatch, and she is a bad person, but she's not inherently evil like, say, the Overlord or Moro, you know, I mean, something like that. I do think Garmadon is the best villain in Ninjago. I think Lord Garmadon is probably one of the best villains in franchise history. I mean, he's up there with the best of the best villains, in my opinion, at least of all time. And Harumi's, I think, in terms of Ninjago, Harumi's probably the second best. But I honestly believe, you know, 1 through 12, if I'm just taking that, part 1, it's not my favorite season. It is one of them, but it is not my favorite. I still think Sons of Garmadon is the best. But, you know, once I finish all the way through 30, again, I got 10 more left, you know, at the time of reviewing this. I'll do it after I get back from school and all that, but it is still pretty cool to you know, it's cool and it's also kind of scary. Because, you know, I started watching Ninjago when I was like, I don't know, maybe like 9, 10, 11, something like that. Probably 11, 10. And, you know, it's been, you know, part of my life, and it's pretty crazy. And it's not officially ending, but this current storyline is wrapping up. And it's pretty effing crazy. So again, if you have seen what happens at the end, do not spoil it for me, please. I'm going to finish it literally tomorrow. At the time that this video comes out, it'll probably be done already. But I really enjoyed Ninjago. Again, it's by far my favorite franchise. I can't get enough of it. It's fantastic. The comics, the novels, the show. It's freaking amazing. Lego Ninjago movie is great, but so far, you know, Crystalized for Part 1, Episode 1 to 12, pretty stinking good. I don't think it's my favorite, but I do think it is very strong. And there's a lot of weight, a lot of consequence, a lot of funny moments too. I remember reading a tweet from Tommy Andreessen. It was like, he's kind of weird. He's kind of like George Lucas. You know, George was like, Star Wars is for children, it's for babies. It's like, if you watch Star Wars, clearly it's not for children. Like, there's a lot of violence. You know, that's another video. At least in my opinion, it's not for kids. I'd say Star Wars is for teens up. Ninjago, I would say, is for older kids. Again, I'm not the be-all, end-all. But in my opinion, Ninjago is for maybe 12, 13 up. Not 4 or 5 up. And of course, Tommy's Twitter bio says, I make content for children. And I literally tweeted, I'm like, hey, can you not do that? Because there's more adults and teens that watch this than kids. I promise you, because no kid is going to get this lore or understand all this shit. Like, it's not happening. I have friends that are adults that watch it. My freaking parents watch it, and they're like, hey, what does this mean? Or, you know, they're not idiots, but, you know, it is a complicated lore. And there's a lot of violence. It's not, you know, intense adult violence, but it still is intense violence and action. For a Lego show, you know what I mean? That's why it's so cool. But I do think that this is one of the more intense seasons, but I don't know. It's pretty freaking crazy. But again, going back to the comedy, I think that it is funny. You know, I remember, like I said, reading that Tommy tweet where he was like, oh, it's funny. You know, it's the funniest script ever. And that made me worry. I was like, Ninjago, in my opinion, every time, there's a select few, but most of the time, like 98% of the time, when Ninjago tries to make a joke, or, you know, excluding Jay for the most part, when they're trying to be funny, it doesn't work, because Ninjago, at its core, is an action drama show. It is not a comedy, like freaking, I don't know, SpongeBob, a regular show, you know what I mean, at its core. So whenever they make jokes, it kind of always feels flat, because there's so many dark, mature themes in the show. I mean, there's like suicide, gun violence, drinking, alcoholism, loss, you know, loss, death, revenge, vengeance. I mean, there's a lot of heavy themes in the show, and then they're like making a joke, and it just doesn't even work. Thankfully, so far, at least from 1 to 12, most of the jokes actually landed, and they did feel organic, so that's props to the writing. But overall, I think this is a really good season for Part 1. Again, once I finish all the way through 30, I'm going to be making my 13 through 30 review. So again, hope you, you know, enjoyed listening to my little review here. Tell me what you think without spoiling in the comments below. If you can, if you can't review it in the comment section without spoiling it, don't, because, you know, some people, they watch the effing comment section first before the video. It's I don't know. But I do think that it is strong. It's not as good as, say, the Oni and Dragon trilogy, but it is very good in my opinion. So I can't wait to see how this plays out. Again, I'm on 20 out of 30, man. I'm freaking hyped, and I'm kind of sad. I'm going to finish it tomorrow. It sucks because I have to go to bed without knowing what happens. But tomorrow, I'm going to finish it off, and then hopefully the next day after, whenever this goes up, soon, I will have the 13 through 30 review, and then that's it. Ninjago, as we currently know it, will be over, and it's pretty crazy. But if you want me to cover any more Ninjago content and concepts in the comments, tell me below. You know, any season, 1 to 15, whatever you want me to talk about. Favorite moments, least favorite moments, funniest moments, darkest moments. I mean, anything you want. Please tell me in the comments. I want to make more Ninjago videos, so, you know, you guys can give me some ideas here. Maybe I'll do a community thing. I don't know. But again, I enjoy it. I think it's pretty good. If I were to rate episode 1 to 12 so far of Crystalized, I'd probably give it a 9.5 out of 10. I think that, again, my only, not necessarily negative, but I guess small issue would be that there's a lot of time devoted to the prison arc, which, again, is a strong arc, but when it's called Crystalized, they're taking a lot of, you know, there's almost moments where it feels like filler. And it's not bad filler, but, you know, I want to get to the Crystalized, the crazy awesome stuff sooner than just, oh, we're in jail, and then we're in the desert, we're running from cops. You know, it is interesting and fun and funny and exciting and intense and awesome. But, you know, I want to get to that good shite. And now that I'm at the good shite, so to speak, even though it isn't, it's actually really well done, you know, have to see what happens. But anyway, again, 9.5 out of 10 so far. Cannot wait to review 13 through 30 of Ninjago, and it's finally going to be over. Again, we're getting content next year in 2023, but it won't be a direct continuation. So they're kind of handling it all wonky, but I can't wait to see how Crystalized and the current Ninjago storyline will end. Thank you guys, and we'll see you in the next video.